Godot was given huge opportunities, two huge opportunities, with the Unity drama involving their install fee controversy, where they were potentially going to charge devs for every download, which would really harm small studios and free-to-play games a considerable amount, or games that people might install multiple times or to multiple machines. The first opportunity is that you now have devs and studios considering dropping Unity, so you have buyers, users looking for a new engine to make games with. More demand suddenly in the market for your product is obviously a good thing. There is a second opportunity too. When this happened, the internet was furious with Unity, so they did something that benefits all alternative engines. In order to fight Unity, people began talking up all the other engines, so without needing to advertise themselves, engines like Godot got an influx of advertising directly linked to their drama of a large corporation. Case in point, this was the time when I myself first heard of Godot, and if I were making a game, I may have considered this engine if it hit my game idea. Keep in mind, what Unity did was not just some political thing where they come out for X candidate on the side of the bad guys. They did something that directly messes with the money, businesses, livelihoods, and lives of the people using the engine. That is not some petty thing that a couple of folk on Twitter care about. It is something that can have considerable negative effect on everyone who uses the product. Godot was handed millions of dollars worth of free publicity and a chance at a now empty chunk of the market, all on a silver platter. Yet they decided instead to shoot themselves in the foot. Oliver virtually signaling community manager, and here's where I'm going to do a bit of an aside. Big corporations, what are you doing? You know what a community manager does, right? The value they add is in making positive relations with the community of your game. So why do you keep hiring and standing by these CMs as they pick fights and attack your players or customers? The way CMs are constantly at the center of drama now, it would be better to not have any CMs at all. The problem has happened way too many times recently, and it has caused so much unnecessary damage. Godot tried to avoid the drama at first, but at the same time, they were banning people on social media and even on GitHub so they couldn't update their engine, which is going to be the most important part of this whole mess. They blamed very reasonably annoyed devs for the whole thing when it's fully on the engine staff, gave a non-apology that feels scripted with the way it dodged blame like every other corporation. The people now just see through immediately, and it was revealed behind the scenes that Godot leadership hate everyone on the other side just as much. And it was revealed that the CM doing all the banning and harassing of the community while on its high horse is an extremely racist person who regularly uses some of the worst slurs they can when talking about certain groups, which, also not surprising, most activists are worse than what they call everyone else. But a CM going out of control could still be handled. It is something you could come back from. What people are going to be more concerned about is the lack of professionalism. Journalists at one point were the hounds that kept industries honest, but today nobody cares that much. If a games journal drops a review of a game they couldn't beat the tutorial of, worst case of a bad review is you buy a bad game. Then learn your lesson about trusting journalists. However, devs who simply requested Godot stayed out of politics were completely silenced, even banned on GitHub, which some suggested would be used to prevent them from updating the engine or downloading it. This is different. This is a concern we saw for people making supplementary materials. Many monetized for Dungeons & Dragons during the OGL controversy. If you're spending a year, 2 years, tens of thousands of dollars making a product that relies on a license or engine or whatever else from another company, you want that company to be very professional. Because the risk is not just losing the money you spent on the bad game because some journalist from IGN gave Concord a 7 out of 10 and it died in 2 weeks. The risk can be losing years and hefty sums that you have due to loans that need to be paid back. And Godot decided, like Unity and like Wizards of the Coast, to kill the trust that is needed to rely on another business when making your product. It is already hard enough to start any business, more so in game development, without having an extra concern of the engine developers taking some sort of action to render their engine unusable for you on the whims of a political psychopath. And that is not about wokeness. It doesn't matter if it's a far-left religious cult or a far-right one. If we were in the 80s right now, I would be saying the same thing about the Satanic Panic clowns. Just as D&D killed trust with the OGL issue, benefited Pathfinder, and Unity's fee controversy benefited Godot, why trust Godot when Godot mistreats its community? When its CMs are racist and have no problem calling others slurs, and when the leaders are caught lying about the situation over and over, and by far most concerning, there is no professionalism. When you look at Godot, you know that it is a company that would interfere with your project that you've spent years working on without any hesitation, and that is a sort of concern nobody wants to deal with in a professional manner.